So I have the collar right here, so I'll go ahead and measure what I have on the collar. So at the end of the day, whatever it gives me, that's what I'm going to use to cut it out. Here I have 15 inches, as you can see right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and draft my collar using my scale. So now the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to deduct 2 inches from that 15 inches, giving me 13 inches. That's my collar length. So 13 divided by 2 gives me 6.5 there. So right now I'm going to mark that 6.5 because this stay is on fold. So I mark 6.5. So I also extend it and mark 6.5. So right now I'm going to use my ruler to make a straight line across the dotted point there. As you can see me rightly doing. So I've drawn a straight line across the dotted line or point. So the next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to mark 0.25 inch. So this is the starting point to give me that shape. So I'm going to come in by 1.25 inch here from that line. So after this, I'm going to extend that line outward by 1 inch. This is going to be my collar button seat rather. So the next thing is just to trace the point using my ruler to connect the dotted points together. Now, as you can see me rightly doing, I'm connecting the dotted points using my curve ruler. You can see the way I place my curve ruler, okay? This is how you are going to do yours when you want to practice yours. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to determine the width of my collar stand. Now, I'm using 1 inch as the width of my collar stand. So as you can see me, I'm marking it right there. So the next thing right now is to use my ruler to connect that 2 dotted points together as I'm doing right now. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to use my curve ruler to connect the remaining line down to the button seat, as you can see me doing right there. So after that, I've got my collar stand, so I can now close the edge up. You can see what I'm doing right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to reshape the button seat. So that is that on that point. So I can now go ahead and draft my collar itself. So for this, I will be using 1.5 inch for the width of my collar. And as you can see me doing right here, I'm also using that same 1.5 inch. So first, I'm going to use my ruler to connect, as you can see me doing right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to use my curve ruler to extend that line down to that point here, to this point. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to extend it a bit so that it will give me that curve shape at the edge of the collar. And that is what you can see me doing at this point. So I'm done with drafting my collar. So the next thing I'm going to do is to use my scissors to trace that point out carefully. As you can see me rightly doing, I'm tracing it carefully so that I don't mix out. So as I continue like that, I'll cut it out, as you can see. So I proceed. After this, then I move to the next thing on the board. I hope you are getting it. I hope you are clear with this explanation and illustration as well. So our collar is ready. The down one is the collar stand. This is the collar stand, while this one is the collar itself. As you can see, it is being extended by 1 inch, which serves as the button seat. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to take my fabric, as you can see it, folded it into 2. So I'm going to place the collar on the wrong side of the fabric. So I'm going to use my iron to iron it, after which I stitch it at the edge. So I'm done with stitching at the edge. So what I'm doing right now is cutting off the excesses I have at the edge. right now I'm going to turn it turn it out inside out, so that I can have the right fabric, as I'm doing right now. Can you see I'm turning it out? So after I haven't done turning it out, the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I use my sharp object to bring out the pointed edge of the collar. So the next thing right now I'm done, so I will now go and stitch the edge, as you can see me using description of my hand right there. So I'm done stitching the edge so that it will give me a balanced shape and a neat outlook. So I'll now go ahead to the collar stand. This is the collar stand. So I will also pick two fabrics. Now I'm using one of the fabric, so I'm going to place the glossy side of my stay on this fabric and I iron. So I'm done ironing. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark the center point of this collar stand fabric. So now here is the center point. So right now I'm going to also do likewise to the collar itself, marking the center point after folding it into two equal parts. So right now, as you can see, I'm done. So the next thing I'm going to do is to stitch it together. So I'll be stitching it together, not with the whole of the collar, but one part of the collar itself. So I stitch it together with the whole of it, rather, sorry. I stitch it together. So this is what I have. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do is to take the second piece of the collar stand. So I'm going to notch it at the center of the fabric. As you can see what I'm doing right here, I've notched it so that it will give me the exact so it will align very well. So right now the next thing is to stitch it at that edge, starting from the button seat down to the other side of the button seat. Okay, so after this, you can see I'm done with this. So the next thing is to turn inside out. So this is what I have. So what I'm trying to do right here is to make sure that the pointed edge comes out well. So here is what I have. So I will now go ahead and stitch it from that line down to the other button seat. So the next thing is to mark the center point right here. Can you see? So now I can now go to my fabric. I'm going to fold it into two equal parts, like you can see me doing, just to mark the center point of the neckline. So right now I'll place one part of it. Can you see? It's just one part of the collar stand. So I'm going to stitch it together from one edge to the other edge of the neckline. So the next thing is to close it up, as you can see right there. So this is the result. This is the outcome of our collar. I want to believe